Mal gucken. Also, wie muss ich mir das vorstellen?
At a time of increased division, polarisation and extremism, arts and sports bring people together and build resilience. The BRaVE Award attracted arts and sports intervention projects from across Europe. The BRaVE jury reviewed all entries and chose the following 15 innovative projects.
Père et Repère, c'est un projet qu'on a mené en 2016-2017. C'est une formation-action dans laquelle les jeunes passent par une sensibilisation et puis sont amenés ensuite à mettre en place leur propre projet citoyen pour contribuer au vivre ensemble à Bruxelles. La première édition a été au-delà de nos attentes et on a voulu recommencer cette année avec 3 nouveautés.
Connecting Art ist ein ästhetisches Bildungsprojekt für Kinder und Jugendliche zwischen 10 und 18 Jahren. Konkret finden wöchentlich kostenlose Workshops statt in den Bereichen Musik, Theater und Tanz.
#dies doch nicht. Und es geht über persönliche Erfahrungen von Jugendlichen mit verschiedenen Hintergründen, die unterschiedliche Arten von Diskriminierung erfahren. Kommt vorbei, wenn die Diskriminierung von unserer Perspektive sehen wollen.
Die Aufgabe der Spielerinnen ist es jetzt, die Manipulationsmechanismen, die hinter diesen Posts von Lulu stecken, zu verstehen.
Das Spiel ist ganz einfach. Man scrollt durch den Stadtspiegel, liest die Postings, schickt Lulu eine Freundschaftsanfrage und muss über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg das Vertrauen von Lulu durch richtige Entscheidungen auf der Plattform gewinnen, bis man von ihr eine Einladung in eine geheime Telegram-Gruppe bekommt. Um Lulus Manipulation zu verstehen, bekommt man über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg Hilfe von der Redaktion.
Play to Educate, or P2E, is a non-profit organization working in Kosovo to cultivate positive relationship development among youth, to promote tolerance and foster resilience focused on preventing religious, political, and ethnic extremism, conflict, and violence. We want our Empowerment Through Play program to be a reliable resource and support system for youth for years to come in cities we've already worked, as well as new locations throughout Kosovo.
Heutzutage ist es leider so, dass politische Gewalt und Extremismus gerade benachteiligte Jugendliche betrifft. Deswegen bieten wir kostenlose Kurse an, damit diese Jugendlichen auch ihren Platz in der Gesellschaft finden können.
Wir möchten mit den verschiedenen Ausdrucksmöglichkeiten im Hip-Hop, besonders bei jungen Menschen, Fantasie wecken und die Freude an der Mitgestaltung ihrer eigenen Community.
Andere haben sich angeschlossen, manche von ihnen haben ähnliche Geschichten erlebt. Wir sind Männer und Frauen, Muslime und Nicht-Muslime. Gemeinsam wollen wir aufstehen und unsere Stimme erheben.
Als Team JAMAL arbeiten wir mit der Methode Online-Streetwork durch unsere Videos, unsere Online-Kampagnen. Und dadurch, dass JAMAL die Sprache der Jugendlichen spricht, erreichen wir Jugendliche in Echo-Chambers und in Social-Media-Bubbles. Und zwar genau auch diese Jugendlichen, die besonders empfänglich sind für die Propaganda und die Rekrutierungsversuche von fanatischen Bewegungen.
Schools closed and the doors were no more open for us. Living in Slovakia, but often not being heard. But having so much to tell about their lives, experiences, and everyday situations. Living libraries naturally evoke curiosity for knowledge and bring an opportunity to talk almost face to face. Giving space for talking, listening, and meeting people from different backgrounds is definitely eliminating the unknown factor and preventing growth of extremism.
Literary Peace ist eine Autorengruppe, die aus Deutschland und Syrien sind. Das Besondere an Literary Peace ist, dass die Leute nicht perfekt oder professionell schreiben müssen, sondern jeder hat die Chance, seine Texte vorzutragen.
Gleichheit.
Miteinander.
Das Projekt heißt Words of Hope, weil es uns um die Hoffnung geht.
Die Jugendlichen, die hier mitmachen oder die so begeistert sind fürs Theater, die bringen immer wieder einen neuen Spirit mit rein. Die Gruppe ist immer wieder frisch und neu, darum ja auch Open Up, weil wir auch immer wieder so neue Konstellationen haben.
Jede Aufführung, jede Phase ist irgendwie was Besonderes. Die Zeit und das, was wir zusammen entwickeln.
So, we apply with our project called KOMMUNITY. And this project has two parts. One is the base camp, and you can see it around here. There's a circus camp here, and so kids doing rap, graffiti, dancing workshops, and also environmental education. And this place is also a place for young people to come together and cooking together and sharing ideas together.
Dawnych żydowskich domów handlowych, czy to nie tylko Stolpersteine, czyli kamyczki symbolizujące, gdzie mieszkali przed wojną Żydzi w Breslau czy we Wrocławiu, ale to również żywa kultura, żywa współczesna kultura żydowska. Wierzymy w to, że tego typu aktywności pozwolą nam pokazać zarówno społeczności żydowskiej, jak i społeczności nieżydowskiej mieszkającej we Wrocławiu, to, że kultura żydowska żyje i rozwija się, i że społeczność żydowska w Polsce i we Wrocławiu ma przed sobą przyszłość, czyli Zukunft.
Hi, I'm Tamara Urosic and I'm the project coordinator in the non-governmental organization Center E8. The Spotlight Theatre was created as a partner organization of Center E8, which deals with social, responsible and engaged topics through art. That is how the play Extremism, How Can I Explain This to My Son was created, as a desire to respond to toxic narratives and the escalation of extremism through art, through theatre.
Walk my shoes.
As a cultural non-profit organization, we at the Klanggrust e.V. took this as an opportunity to double our efforts and mend the cultural divide in our city. Ever since our foundation in 2007, we offer young Erfurt residents a place where they can create and experience culture. Our monthly jam sessions, an open stage for everyone willing to step into the light. Our series of poetry slams, not to forget our various arts and crafts workshops, ranging from graffiti to gardening.
Welcome everyone to the BRaVE Fair. I'm delighted that we're able to gather here, even though we can't be together in person in Berlin as planned. And before I present the agenda for tonight, I want to acknowledge that I'm actually presenting from Melbourne in Australia on the lands of the Aboriginal, Boonwurrung and Wurundjeri people, who are the traditional owners of this land where I am. And I wish to pay my respects to elders past, present and future. Tonight we have the privilege of hearing from the winners of this BRaVE Award. So we'll begin with hearing about the BRaVE project from my colleague Richard McNeill-Wilson, who's the main researcher on the project at the European University Institute. Then we'll hear about the BRaVE Award and why it's so important that this award exists. We'll have a panel discussion of the different jury members. And we'll then move to the BRaVE Award ceremony, where we'll hear about the winner from the jury. We'll have the prizes and we'll hear about the winning projects and offer the participants of those projects to say something about their projects. We're very excited to find out who the winners are tonight. We've had over 1,000 people vote for these awards, in addition to the jury judging them. And we wish you all luck. Congratulations on fantastic projects.
Hi there, good morning to everyone. Thank you so much, Vivian, for the introduction to the BRaVE Awards and the BRaVE Awards ceremony today. Again, very sad that we can't be in Berlin as part of this. We still hope to be in May, but we're very pleased to have the opportunity to bring all of these brilliant projects together across Europe and to bring all these experts as well and have people watch from around the world as part of this. So I would like to just give an introduction to the BRaVE project. And I would, yes, I'd just like to give an introduction to the BRaVE project. Can I just get a technical check that, that everything is okay? Okay, so I'm going to give an introduction to the BRaVE project. So the BRaVE project is a coordination and support action project. We're based here in the European University Institute in Florence, from where I'm joining you. And we're a consortium of academic, practitioner, and technical partners that have come together across Europe with the support, the kind support of Horizon 2020 and the EU Commission, grant number 822189, to explore discussions around violent extremism and polarization in Europe. It's fantastic to have all these projects here today, and to see the work that's being done on a grassroots level. And we think it's particularly important because Europe has grown so increasingly polarized in recent years. At a time of great global uncertainty, European societies have been fractured by movements hostile to democratic norms. So we look to understand the rise of polarization across Europe, to explore what European countries can learn from different approaches to counter violence and polarization, and what tools we can develop to create more resilient communities. There are three aims to the BRaVE project, which I'd like to talk about. Firstly, we aim to explore what key factors there are in the creation of violent extremism and polarization in Europe. Secondly, we look to understand and develop resilience in combating violent extremism and polarization. And thirdly, we look to support practitioners, policymakers, and communities in responding to violent extremism and polarization. The key factors that we look at and that we understand as taking place in violent extremism and polarization in Europe come from all different levels. On a socioeconomic level, we look at the impact that deprivation and disadvantage has, as well as segregation and racism. In terms of cultural factors, we look at the impact of inclusive or exclusive identities, ignorance of minority cultures, or hostile perception of other communities. In political factors, we examine the role of the far right, the laws and policies perceived as targeting minorities or foreigners, and the lack of political and democratic representation that some communities face. And on a network-related level, we look at how hate speech and polarizing media content can impact, the role of social media platforms and online bubbles, as well as the impact of polarizing groups embedded in online and offline communities. Secondly, as part of the BRaVE project, we look to understand and develop resilience in combating violent extremism and polarization. When it comes to discussions over resilience, we understand this as the ability to face and respond to adversity, the capacity to draw on various sources of strength and social resources in order to adapt and to cope with challenges and situations of strain, stress, and trauma. Of course, we all have an understanding of what resilience means, but part of the work of the BRaVE project is to look at how we can move resilience into discussions around the community and how communities can respond to the threat of violence and polarization through the allocation of certain resources, through supporting certain projects, and by addressing the factors that create polarization. Finally, we look at how we can support practitioners, policymakers, and institutions tackling violent extremism and polarization. As part of the BRaVE project, we've already done a European-wide mapping of programs, policies, institutions, and various approaches tackling violent extremism and polarization throughout the continent, both on a national, international, and on a grassroots level. We've also been working to develop a set of indicators on ethnic, racial, religious, political, gender-orientated, and socioeconomic polarization and resilience across Europe. We've published various technical reports and studies on violent extremism, polarization, and resilience. And as part of our continued research into this, are planning various workshops bringing together experts from across Europe to develop new insights and responses. All of these outputs that we've developed are available on our website. Finally, one of the most important tasks that we have is to think about how we can directly support grassroots responses to polarization and violence in the communities. This we've achieved through the creation of online learning courses and indeed, and perhaps most importantly of our outputs, the BRaVE Fair and the BRaVE Awards today. With the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, new forms of extremism have appeared, including xenophobic conspiracy theories and new online far-right communities. And there is also significant concern about the long-term economic and social impact of COVID restrictions currently impacting. As such, Europe faces an entirely new set of challenges. But BRaVE is able to provide the basis for understanding and responding to these new challenges. And indeed, every single one of the projects here today and involved in the BRaVE Award are also key players in the front line of response to supporting communities during these difficult times. So, with no further ado, I would very much like to hand back to other people in the BRaVE project, and particularly move on to a panel discussion exploring more as to why the BRaVE Award is important in these times.
Thank you, Richard. I'd like to invite the BRaVE jury now to speak. I'd like to begin by asking Henry Tuck, which kinds of problems and challenges is the prevention landscape facing in times of digitalisation? What new threads are we facing during the pandemic?
Thanks, Vivian and Richard, and good morning or good afternoon or good evening, I guess, depending on where you are around the world. So yeah, I'm going to speak a little bit to some of kind of the new challenges that we've been facing this year with the pandemic and the impact that this has had on prevention efforts. So I think it goes without saying that the COVID-19 pandemic has led to profound changes and huge uncertainty in terms of people's health, social cohesion, and the economy and the huge impact that that has on people's lives. As ever, extremist groups will look to exploit crises, and we're seeing that in a huge way with the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, alongside that, the impact of the pandemic has meant that people are spending more and more time at home, more and more time online. As schools have been temporarily closed, people are working from home. People are spending more and more of their lives online. And of course, we all know that there are all sorts of places online that are not necessarily the most healthy places to spend your time. Extremists of all different stripes have been kind of, as I said, exploiting the crisis, but also interpreting the pandemic along pre-existing ideological lines, often drawing upon previous narratives, previous scapegoats or groups that they tend to attack, and linking these to the current situation. We've seen right-wing extremists use the crisis to mobilize against minorities, undermine trust in government. We've seen left-wing extremists typically place the pandemic in an economic and anti-capitalist context, and Islamist extremists, as you'd expect, interpreting the crisis along primarily religious lines. We've recently conducted some research looking at the German-speaking world, so primarily Germany, Austria, and part of Switzerland. And we looked at the impact that the pandemic has had on existing extremist communities on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, 4chan, and Telegram, as well as a range of extremist websites. And overall, since March, we found that on average, these communities have grown by 14%. To break that down a little bit, the biggest growth has been amongst the far right, where overall we saw an 18% growth, a 10% growth for left-wing extremist communities, and a 6% growth for Islamist extremist communities. And as Richard noted, our analysis also found that there has been a huge growth in demand for conspiracy theories online. In the first 2 months after kind of lockdown measures were first introduced in March around Europe, this led to a significant increase in the number of followers, particularly of right-wing extremist conspiracy theories on social media. And the largest example of this that we found was some QAnon channels on Telegram that grew by 560%. So a huge number, and obviously massively above the averages that I just mentioned. But this German language QAnon community pre-pandemic had 18,000 members and is now up to 120,000 members. Having said that, we've also seen in many contexts a renewed trust in institutions, in government, where people have considered kind of the response to the pandemic to be effective. However, in the German context, just to give an example, 34% of Germans still believe that political pressure is being exerted on the media to kind of conceal or to underplay the impact of the pandemic, or to overplay and kind of to undermine some of the government responses that we've seen. We've also seen regular mass demonstrations in a number of European countries. And I think it's important to say that while many of the attendees of these demonstrations are not necessarily extremists, I think there is a danger that, given that some of them are, that this creates a context both on and offline for increased radicalization or recruitment. So, for example, the RIAS, the Department for Research and Information on Anti-Semitism, found that 123 rallies and demonstrations related to the pandemic in Germany between the 7th of March and the 17th of June this year were accompanied by anti-Semitic statements. So hopefully that kind of paints a picture of some of the challenges that we're facing. Obviously, in a kind of prevention context, this has huge implications in terms of reducing existing resilience factors, whether that's social or economic pressures, alongside more sort of personal psychological factors, such as stress, isolation, trauma, etc. It also obviously has a huge impact on kind of real world offline physical limitations. There are reduced opportunities for communities to come together. Shared spaces have been closed. There's an inability to connect with people in person. And while, you know, things like Zoom are wonderful and enable us to speak to people all over the world, I think we'd all agree that you do lose something by not being in person. So it is a shame that we couldn't be all together in Berlin today. But this sort of combination, this perfect storm, means that a lot of people working to build resilience or working on prevention projects have had to adapt very quickly to these new circumstances, and often with limited resources, obviously some of the increased constraints that I've already mentioned. And so it has been a huge challenge for all sorts of different types of projects and prevention activities that usually would primarily work offline and in person. Alongside this, and to kind of set aside the pandemic, you know, the last 10, 15, 20 years have seen a huge shift in our lives online, in terms of how we socialize, how we spend our money, how we consume news and information, and all sorts of other areas as well. And, you know, we're increasingly seeing this kind of generational divide between those that have grown up in this environment and those that have kind of come to it as adults. And so, you know, we see adults and young people using very different sets of platforms online, and often different, interacting in very different ways online. So the implications for that, you know, from a youth perspective, often parents don't have a clear understanding of what their children are doing online, how they're spending their time, who they're speaking to. And again, this has been heightened during the pandemic with school closures, homeschooling, and combining that with working from home. You know, often children aren't having the supervision they would normally have at the moment. Alongside this, you know, another long-term trend is this proliferation of alternative and fringe media, which is leading to a fracturing of the public sphere. And increasingly, we're seeing different groups among society relying on entirely separate sources of information and news. And I think the US context at the moment gives a very stark example of this. There was a recent poll that showed that 77% of Trump voters believe there was widespread election fraud, and that Trump is still on course to win the election. So in that context, you know, over the next few weeks or the next couple of months, as sort of that realization starts to dawn, there is a danger that that sparks kind of potential offline incidents or violence. And so this kind of parallel media ecosystem and political reality makes it much harder for us to have shared conversations and bring people together. And that's, again, been heightened in 2020 by the impact of the pandemic. Often, as someone from ISD, I'm brought on to kind of present the doom scenario and to kind of speak to all of the threats and dangers that are out there. But I want to try and at least end on a slightly more positive note. And just say that I think it's highly encouraging to see all of the wonderful projects that are going on around Europe at the grassroots or local level, many of which are here today. And hopefully projects like BRaVE can help to provide both kind of the evidence base and also the resources to help support this kind of work in the current circumstances. So thank you very much. I'll pass back to Vivian.
Thank you so much, Henry, for a very illuminating discussion. I'd like to ask Magda to talk about project design with a gender perspective in prevention work and how we might go about that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Magda Świder. I'm from Poland. I'm an anti-discrimination educator, activist, and a researcher. And what I really want to talk to you about today is this gender perspective in the work we all do. I feel it's extremely important to see what the surrounding reality is, and that reality is the rise of anti-gender movement across Europe. This is especially vivid in Central and Eastern countries where there's a backlash against women's rights and LGBT rights. And in 2018, the European Parliamentary Forum on Population and Development has produced this publication describing the strategies of religious fundamentalists and their goal to restore the natural order. The publication is called Restoring the Natural Order, the Religious Extremist Vision to Mobilize European Societies Against Human Rights and Sexuality and Reproduction. And when I first was reading this publication in 2018, I was thinking, well, this sounds like a conspiracy theory. This sounds unreal, because one of the things mentioned there were that, well, the big goal is to go back to the state from before the sexual revolution, where sex was just for reproductive rights. And the goal is to repeal laws of any civil partnerships, same-sex partnerships, repeal laws allowing divorce or allowing abortion. And back then I thought, well, this seems unreal. But then within the past couple of years, we've seen these strategies being taken into the on the national level and implemented in different countries. Well, since I come from Poland, I can tell you about things that have been going on here, because I follow them quite closely. So all of those LGBT-free zones in Poland, or the ban on abortion, it's all steered by fundamentalist religious organizations that follow this strategy. Agenda Europe is this coalition of such organizations. One of them, for instance, is Ordo Juris, very active in Poland. Since I was since I was working for Campaign Against Homophobia, the biggest LGBTI organization in Poland, we were very often targeted directly by such organizations. One of their goals is to defund the gay lobbies or abortion lobbies. So very often we would have them try to defund us or directly. But I feel like it's also important to understand what their strategy is, because they take lessons from us, actually. So we work within the framework of human rights, and very often they also change their strategies in order to talk about rights as well. So very often you would hear from these organizations about the family rights, or the rights of unborn children, or the rights of employees that are attacked by anti-discrimination legislation. So when you take these big steps and the smallest steps, they actually have very well written down what the communication strategies around their issue should be, but also how to slowly, step by step, reach the big goals. And the small goals would be, for instance, to abolition of all equality legislation at national level, for instance. That would attack not only women or LGBT people, but would also attack any other minority groups that are currently protected by anti-discrimination legislation present. So the bottom line here is that all of us need to be aware about the challenges out there, about the backlash that is very well structured, it's very well funded as well. Unlike us, we're organizations, we're an NGO, civil society organizations. Very often we use public money, so we need to really report and we need to be transparent about our expenses. Whereas, for instance, Ordo Juris in Poland is mostly funded by private donations, so you can't really track where the money is coming from, but they're very well resourced to create this backlash. So I've already mentioned a couple of things going on in Poland, but I'm sure you can also spot this movement, anti-gender movement, being very active in a number of countries, perhaps more successful in the countries like Poland, where the democratic institutions are not so strong yet. So it's easier to steer there. However, I think it's important to understand these strategies so that we can together address it better. And I think awards such as this is a great opportunity to promote projects that really are best practices and taking into consideration the gender perspective in this work. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Magda. I'd like to ask our next jury member, Monica, to please respond to some questions. What are, do you think, good preconditions for civil society to engage with grassroots projects? Why do you think so many projects from Germany applied? And what can we learn from Germany's policy?
Okay, hello Vivian. I hope everybody can hear me. My name is Monica Bövenich. I work for the federal government of education and research in Germany. And we have big funding programs, especially for cultural education. I would say the best requirement to come to the first question, Vivian, is the best requirement for the civil society to engage in grassroots projects is a committed civil society and are the committed citizens. Nothing works without individual commitment. In Germany, we have around 600,000 associations, small projects, initiatives in all areas you can imagine. They are always self-organized. This is the most important principle, self-organization. And as I said, in all areas, in sports, in gardening, in, of course, cultural education, in prevention, violence, racism, extremism, whatever. And in these kind of projects, about 20% of the people in Germany work for. So there is a huge amount of individual commitment. And these projects who apply in the BRaVE Award, they show that in all over Europe, not only in Germany, but in all over Europe, there are committed people, which is quite extremely important, who are able and willing to work for a project, for a topic, whatever. And in this case, it's the very important topic, prevention against violence and extremism. I would say a society cannot function without such a commitment. Citizens' engagement is a prerequisite for cohesion and participation in a society, in every country. And of course, it's extremely helpful when there is a financial support by the government, by foundations. I would say the situation in Germany for this is quite comfortable. There are a lot of programs on the federal level, but also in the Länder, in the communities, by foundations. Well, as we all know, Germany is a quite rich country, so there are these possibilities for financial support, but this is not the only point. It depends from the individual commitment. You need people to do something. So, and for me personally, it was quite interesting to see all these projects in all over Europe who do or which do something with the youngsters, for youngsters. This was quite a big thing. So the second question, projects from a lot of projects in Germany do apply to the BRaVE Award. What can we learn from the Germans' policy? I would say every country has its own culture in terms of civil society and engagement. So I'm not so sure that other countries can learn something from the Germans or from Germany. The fact that so many projects have applied is certainly due to the fact that, firstly, extremism and violence are a huge issue in Germany in these days, in these weeks, in these months. Secondly, there are really many initiatives dealing with these topics, doing projects for young people, for pupils, to prevent against violence and extremism. And the third point is these initiatives appear to be actively looking into where there are programs like BRaVE or other types of competitions or other funding programs, whatever, be on a German level or even on a European level. They do look for these kind of programs to get public interest, to get the money to do their work, whatever. So I wouldn't say that the projects can learn for Germany. What I have seen is that the projects do always a good work against violence and extremism in different ways.
Thank you so much, Monica. I think probably many contexts would feel that they would like to learn from Germany's policy because it seems to be very effective. I'd like to invite Robin now to please comment. As a member of the jury, Robin, how do grassroots projects, in your view, address violent extremism and polarization?
Hi, thank you, Vivian. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Robin Sclafani. I'm from SEJI, which makes a Jewish contribution to an inclusive Europe. We're a Brussels-based European-level organization, And we're working primarily in anti-discrimination, education, and intercultural dialogue. And we're doing grassroots projects here in French-speaking Belgium. And we're also training trainers and supporting change agents from other parts of Europe in the work that they're doing at grassroots level. So grassroots projects are mostly working in the area of prevention, either early prevention or working with youth and communities who are at risk of being influenced by extremist ideas. There are, of course, projects that are more about intervention and de-radicalization, but the majority probably, and that which I'm most familiar with, are those that are building resilience as part of early prevention or even late stage prevention with at-risk populations. And the research into resilience conducted by Michelle Grossman, who's an advisor for the BRaVE project, and Vivienne Geran, who's our lovely moderator today for this award ceremony, with other colleagues in Canada and Australia, provides a really excellent framework for thinking about the work that grassroots projects are doing, such as what has been evidenced in these amazing initiatives presented here in the BRaVE Fair. So these projects are building bonding capital, which is also referred to as cultural identity and connectedness. And this is really important because it's about helping young people feel good in their own skin, that they feel connected to their own heritage as well as to the mainstream culture. They feel free and safe to share themselves with others, and they can really discover their own unique potential. These projects are also bridging capital, so building trust and confidence in people from other groups. So that's where you see a lot of the intercultural work that's happening in these projects. These projects are also linking capital, which are building trust and confidence in government and authority figures and the institutions around them, and that they have the skills, knowledge, and resources to make use of these institutions around them. This is about creating a sense of agency and self-determination and citizenship to be involved in the environment around them. So these are three really important elements to consider developing in new grassroots projects, but they're also the elements that we're seeing in all the projects here presented in the BRaVE Fair. I'd also like to talk about the challenges which we face, because that's not always acknowledged enough. And we talk a lot about funding, of course, and resources, but there are many other things that we see, certainly in the work that we're doing. And one of the first challenges to take care of is the well-being of the animators, of the youth workers, and the project leaders, because we too are also impacted by social and political issues in the context which we're in. We too are also very emotionally impacted by the youth with whom we're working and helping them through their own struggles. And we are also very vulnerable to being overworked. We're investing ourselves so fully, day and often night, in the day-to-day work to really support the young people and implement the projects with few resources. You may remember once when we were taking airplanes, and in the introductory sort of security measures, they tell you if you're traveling with a child and the oxygen masks come down, always put it first on yourself before you put it on the child, because if we're not getting the air we need to take care of ourselves, we can't take care of the others. So that's a really important lesson also for this work that we're doing. We also need to be very well informed about what is happening around us, politically, socially, in the current events, in social media and the popular culture trends. What are the social media bubbles that our target groups are participating in? And being informed in this way really helps us to be better prepared to deal with the potential triggers and influences that can be affecting our target groups. We also need to be well informed about how public services are functioning, such as how the judicial system works. And this links to one of the things that probably is least understood by the authorities and the funders of our projects, and that's the personal investment of the project leaders, especially when working with more at-risk populations. Much of the work that takes place is really one-on-one. It's a personal and individualized support with these youth, They have personal problems, school problems, family issues, sometimes legal problems, interactions with the police that need to be followed up. We're called on by their social workers, by probation officers, sometimes their parents, to intervene in trying to keep these young people on a healthy path. This can be exhausting, it's very time consuming, and it is unfortunately often very necessary and not always known or understood or appreciated by the authorities and the funders that we need to support our work. So this implies resources for staff, in addition to the resources for equipment, space, and supplies. And we come back around to that first challenge, which is the well-being of our project leaders. We need to remember that we are not superheroes or saviors, and there is not a one-size-fits-all approach to addressing these issues. This requires us to be consistently creative, always innovating and responding to constantly evolving social contexts. And so we must remember to celebrate our achievements, small and large. All of these projects are so amazing and so important. The work happening person by person, group by group, community by community. And here in the BRaVE Fair, we are trying to connect communities, hoping to mutually reinforce and multiply our efforts even further. So congratulations to all of the award finalists for the great work you do every day.
Thanks, Robin. I agree with all of you. I think this is critically important work. It's so vital, and it's moving to see the grassroots projects that have applied for the BRaVE Award. We're very, very grateful, above all, to the European Commission for the Horizon 2020 DG scheme that has funded this project and given the opportunity to us to present these projects with the award. So we wish to thank them from the bottom of our hearts, this amazing opportunity that we have. And we'd like to now move to the BRaVE Award ceremony. I'd like to invite each member of the jury to announce one of their winning projects. So we'll start with Frau Bervenich. So Monica, would you like to present the first award?
Yes, I do. Just a second. The video. Hope it works. So I have to, well, let's say I'm asked to present the project Breathe In, Break Out. Well, when I saw the video, I had the impression the most important thesis of the competition contribution from this project is the sentence, democracy is under pressure. In my point of view, they are absolutely and completely right. We have Islamist attacks in Paris, in Vienna, in Dresden, in Nice. They took place in the last weeks and in the last month. And we have a lot of populists in Poland, Hungary in the government, not to mention Great Britain with the Brexit. And the thing that came to me in my mind when I saw the video is, of course, a year ago, young right-wing extremists tried to break into the synagogue in Halle, which is a city in East Germany, to shoot Jews. And when he didn't succeed, he shot 2 other people he happened to meet. Since then, Halle, the city of Halle, has been synonymous with extremism and violence. So probably this also played a role in my consideration to vote for the project Breathe In, Break Out in Halle. The fact that young people offer hip-hop courses for young people definitely played a very important role, because these are young people to do these kind of projects. It's a peer group, and these young students, they speak the language of the youngsters for whom they do the projects, and they have a clear political position. So the students have a clear political position. They stand up against violence, racism, and extremism. So they do this not only through dance or by giving dance classes or other courses. They discuss with scientists, artists, activists from Germany, Europe, and beyond. They seek the dialogue with the public. So many great projects from all over Europe were submitted for the BRaVE Award. Almost all of them deserve an award. This is not the question. I'm curious to see if Breathe In, Break Out will win the race. I would say they are quite focused to the topic of this award. For this reason, I would say they would deserve the award. We will see if they do get it, and I keep my fingers crossed. And thank you.
Thanks, Monika.
Heutzutage ist es leider so, dass politische Gewalt und Extremismus gerade benachteiligte Jugendliche betrifft. Deswegen bieten wir kostenlose Kurse an, damit diese Jugendlichen auch ihren Platz in der Gesellschaft finden können. Wir möchten mit den verschiedenen Ausdrucksmöglichkeiten im Hip-Hop, besonders bei jungen Menschen, Fantasie wecken und die Freude an der Mitgestaltung ihrer eigenen Community.
Congratulations to Breathe In, Break Out. Would you like to say a few words about your project?
Sorry, I didn't understand. The sound was off, so unfortunately I didn't hear what you was just saying. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't understood the question you were just asking. Sorry, there was a problem of connection.
I'm sorry. I wanted to congratulate you on this Jury's Award. And I wanted to ask you to talk about your project, to make some remarks about your project.
Yeah. Well, Monika just said the most important things that for us it's important to have a strong, clear political stance, and to reach out to the youth in Halle that is sensitive to the arts, to the urban arts of hip hop, but also to reach out to the general population, and yeah, what should I say? We have a lot of activities going on, dance classes, graffiti workshops, rap workshops, a lot of things going on, different formats that are appealing to the youth, and we use this as a medium to talk about all these pressing issues that put it was said, democracy under pressure, our community under pressure, tolerance for cultural, ethnic, religious diversity under pressure. We are hip hop activists, so for us it's really important to highlight and to preserve the diversity. Like having this art form and this culture as something that connects every human being, regardless of their let's say religious creed, of their gender, of their physical abilities, characteristics, or their income. This is why we always try to offer our activities for free or at a very low price. I don't know how much I should say. I could talk a lot. We are very happy about this.
It's a wonderful project.
Thank you.
Incredible work, very inspiring. And congratulations again on a brilliant project.
Thank you.
I'd like to now invite our next jury member, Henry Tuck, to talk about the project that, another project that was given a jury award.
Thanks, Vivian. Hello again. So overall, I was hugely impressed by the range and diversity of projects, but I'm going to speak to just kind of one of my personal favorites. And this project combines kind of, in some ways, both ends of the spectrum, both rehabilitation, but also prevention, because the project was initiated by a young man who was in prison for previously having been involved in the jihadist movement. And I think that's a really important way to demonstrate both the potential impact and importance of efforts to rehabilitate extremism-related offenders, but also a real-life example for others that people can change and evolve. Working with former extremists is something that we've done quite a lot as well at ISD, as well as survivors of extremist violence or radicalization. And one common thread that we often see among people that have been radicalized at a young age is that they do have a desire to make changes in the world and are often very passionate activists. But obviously, unfortunately, they've been often exploited and misdirected and have adopted the wrong causes and the wrong approaches. Extremist movements and conspiracy theories can offer very kind of seductive and simple solutions, as well as scapegoats to genuine challenges in society. So I think it's really heartening to demonstrate that this desire to make change can be channeled in a positive direction, and also the humility required to admit that one's previous actions or views were wrong, and a motivation to then kind of help prevent others from making those same mistakes. We've also, from some of the work that we do, seen the power of storytelling and the use of these sort of personal experiences, especially working with young people, because they provide a really engaging and relatable way into discussions around what are often some very difficult, sensitive or controversial topics. I also really like this project because it takes a peer-to-peer approach. It's led by youth and centres sort of young voices, which again, I think is really vital to make sure that kind of the content produced is as relatable as possible to the target audience. And I think will also certainly help to make sure that it has an impact on online platforms. So the project operates on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. And I think it's really important to make sure that you meet people where they're spending their time. And then finally, I was really impressed by the high production values of the project's content, which again is really important if you want to kind of compete in an online context and project kind of the credibility of your message. So big congratulations to the JAMAL AL-KHATIB team, and thank you for all of the work that you've been doing.
Andere haben sich angeschlossen, manche von ihnen haben ähnliche Geschichten erlebt. Wir sind Männer und Frauen, Muslime und Nicht-Muslime. Gemeinsam wollen wir aufstehen und unsere Stimme erheben.
Als Team JAMAL arbeiten wir mit der Methode Online Streetwork durch unsere Videos, unsere Online-Kampagnen. Und dadurch, dass JAMAL die Sprache der Jugendlichen spricht, erreichen wir Jugendliche in Echo-Chambers und in Social-Media-Bubbles. Und zwar genau auch diese Jugendlichen, die besonders empfänglich sind für die Propaganda und die Rekrutierungsversuche von fanatischen Bewegungen.
Congratulations, and I'd like to invite Felix on behalf of the JAMAL AL-KHATIB project to talk about your work.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. This is great. I think Henry Tuck already explained a lot about our project, so I would like to take a chance to say thank you to the BRaVE project team for connecting us with the other great other projects. Also, I would like to thank the Bundeszentrale für politische Bildung for funding us for the last 2 years. And a special thank you also for my project team, and especially to the youngsters we work with, not only for their contribution to our campaign, but also for sending the BRaVE voting link to about 200 WhatsApp groups. And yeah, if I can say one more thing, this BRaVE Fair, as well as our project JAMAL AL-KHATIB My Path, are about tackling violent extremism and polarization. And about 2.5 weeks ago, we had this terrible example of violent extremism in our hometown, the terrorist attack in Vienna on the 2nd of November. And now in the aftermath, we can see or observe first indicators for
At a time of increased division, polarization and extremism, arts and sports bring people together and build resilience. The BRaVE Award attracted arts and sports intervention projects from across Europe. The BRaVE jury reviewed all entries and chose the following 15 innovative projects.
Père et Repère, c'est un projet qu'on a mené en 2016-2017. C'est une formation-action dans laquelle les jeunes passent par une sensibilisation et puis sont amenés ensuite à mettre en place leur propre projet citoyen pour contribuer au vivre ensemble à Bruxelles. La première édition a été au-delà de nos attentes et on a voulu recommencer cette année avec 3 nouveautés.
Connecting Art ist ein ästhetisches Bildungsprojekt für Kinder und Jugendliche zwischen 10 und 18 Jahren. Konkret finden wöchentlich kostenlose Workshops statt in den Bereichen Musik, Theater und Tanz.
#dies doch nicht. Und es geht über persönliche Erfahrungen von Jugendlichen mit verschiedenen Hintergründen, die unterschiedliche Arten von Diskriminierung erfahren. Kommt vorbei, wenn die Diskriminierung von unserer Perspektive sehen wollt.
Die Aufgabe der Spielerinnen ist es jetzt, die Manipulationsmechanismen, die hinter diesen Posts von Lulu stecken, zu verstehen.
Das Spiel ist ganz einfach. Man scrollt durch den Stadtspiegel, liest die Postings,
schickt Lulu eine Freundschaftsanfrage und muss über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg das Vertrauen von Lulu durch richtige Entscheidungen auf der Plattform gewinnen, bis man von ihr eine Einladung in eine geheime Telegram-Gruppe bekommt. Um Lulus Manipulation zu verstehen, bekommt man über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg Hilfe von der Redaktion.
Play to Educate, or P2E, is a non-profit organization working in Kosovo to cultivate positive relationship development among youth, to promote tolerance and foster resilience focused on preventing religious, political, and ethnic extremism, conflict, and violence. We want our Empowerment Through Play program to be a reliable resource and support system for youth for years to come in cities we've already worked, as well as new locations throughout Kosovo.
Heutzutage ist es leider so, dass politische Gewalt und Extremismus gerade benachteiligte Jugendliche betrifft. Deswegen bieten wir kostenlose Kurse an, damit diese Jugendlichen auch ihren Platz in der Gesellschaft finden können.
Wir möchten mit den verschiedenen Ausdrucksmöglichkeiten im Hip-Hop, besonders bei jungen Menschen, Fantasie wecken und die Freude an der Mitgestaltung ihrer eigenen Community.
Andere haben sich angeschlossen, manche von ihnen haben ähnliche Geschichten erlebt. Wir sind Männer und Frauen, Muslime und Nicht-Muslime. Gemeinsam wollen wir aufstehen und unsere Stimme erheben.
Als Team JAMAL arbeiten wir mit der Methode Online-Streetwork durch unsere Videos, unsere Online-Kampagnen. Und dadurch, dass JAMAL die Sprache der Jugendlichen spricht, erreichen wir Jugendliche in Echo-Chambers und in Social-Media-Bubbles. Und zwar genau auch diese Jugendlichen, die besonders empfänglich sind für die Propaganda und die Rekrutierungsversuche von fanatischen Bewegungen.
Schools closed and the doors were no more open for us, living in Slovakia but often not being heard, but having so much to tell about their lives, experiences and everyday situations. Living libraries naturally evoke curiosity for knowledge and bring an opportunity to talk almost face to face. Giving space for talking, listening and meeting people from different backgrounds is definitely eliminating the unknown factor and preventing growth of extremism.
Literary Peace ist eine Autorengruppe, die aus Deutschland und Syrien sind. Das Besondere an Literary Peace ist, dass die Leute nicht perfekt oder professionell schreiben müssen, sondern jeder hat die Chance, seine Texte vorzutragen.
Gleichheit.
Miteinander.
Das Projekt heißt Words of Hope, weil es uns um die Hoffnung geht.
Die Jugendlichen, die hier mitmachen oder die so begeistert sind fürs Theater, die bringen immer wieder einen neuen Spirit mit rein. Die Gruppe ist immer wieder frisch und neu, darum ja auch Open Up, weil wir auch immer wieder so neue Konstellationen haben.
Jede Aufführung, jede Phase ist irgendwie was Besonderes. Die Zeit und das, was wir zusammen entwickeln.
So, we apply with our project called KOMMUNITY. And this project has two parts. One is the base camp, and you can see it around here. There's a circus camp here, and so kids doing rap, graffiti, dancing workshops, and also environmental education. And this place is also a place for young people to come together and cooking together and sharing ideas together.
Dawnych żydowskich domów handlowych, czy to nie tylko Stolpersteine, czy kamyczki symbolizujące, gdzie mieszkali przed wojną Żydzi w Breslau czy we Wrocławiu, ale to również żywa kultura, żywa współczesna kultura żydowska. Wierzymy w to, że tego typu aktywności pozwolą nam pokazać zarówno społeczności żydowskiej, jak i społeczności nieżydowskiej mieszkającej we Wrocławiu, to, że kultura żydowska żyje i rozwija się, i że społeczność żydowska w Polsce i we Wrocławiu ma przed sobą przyszłość, czyli Zukunft.
Hi, I'm Tamara Urosic and I'm the project coordinator in non-governmental organization Center E8. The Spotlight Theatre was created as a partner organization of Center E8, which deals with social, responsible and engaged topics through art. That is how the play Extremism, How Can I Explain This to My Son was created, as a desire to respond to toxic narratives and the escalation of extremism through art, through theatre.
Walk my shoes.
As a cultural non-profit organization, we at the Klanggrust e.V. took this as an opportunity to double our efforts and mend the cultural divide in our city. Ever since our foundation in 2007, we offer young Erfurt residents a place where they can create and experience culture. Our monthly jam sessions, an open stage for everyone willing to step into the light. Our series of poetry slams, not to forget our various arts and crafts workshops, ranging from graffiti to gardening.
Welcome back, everyone. Apologies for some technical difficulties we had. We're back, and I'd like to welcome our next jury member to please present the next jury's winner project. Magda.
Hello, everyone. So the third winner is a project that firstly has used art as discussion started to touch upon important social problems, has responded well to fast-changing reality of educational work in times of pandemic. This project has responded well to refugee crisis as it gave space to talk about migration, racism, and discrimination, and a project that has kept people talking, and most importantly, it also engaged teachers to learn new methods. So the final jury award goes to Building Solid Ground, Slovakia.
Schools closed, and the doors were no more open for us, living in Slovakia, but often not being heard, but having so much to tell about their lives, experiences, and everyday situations. Living libraries naturally evoke curiosity for knowledge and bring an opportunity to talk almost face to face. Giving space for talking, listening, and meeting people from different backgrounds is definitely eliminating the unknown factor and preventing growth of extremism. Schools
Congratulations. Luba, would you like to say some words about your project?
Hello, everyone. I'm really nicely surprised. Thank you very much. I was not really counting with this because seeing all these great projects, so I'm really honestly surprised. So thank you again. Yes, our organization deals with education and mostly with educators, and we have other projects which are focused on polarization and extremism as well. But we decided to submit these activities that we have done in this recent half a year because it was a strong change for us of trying to adjust to the situation and seeing the need in the educational system to bring a new wind and new methods to introduce different way of teaching and learning, and as well with the cooperation with the people living in Slovakia from different African countries that we focused more on this part. We brought this piece of the world into the schools through online learning, and we created a manual which we will be very, very happy that in the next year we could disseminated through another trainings for teachers, so they could actually use what we have created. We have created different videos and a new tool for them to use even during these times of pandemic and learning online. And I know many of them struggles a lot. So thank you a lot. We are really, really surprised and really grateful. Thank you very, very much.
Congratulations again. Really fantastic work.
Thank you.
And because we were interrupted briefly, our previous winning project didn't really have an opportunity to speak. So we'd like to invite that project to come back on screen and please present your project. So Felix, please, if you could give a few words about your winning project.
Hi, I think...
Apologies again for the interruption.
No problem.
There's a lot going on in the background all over the world.
Yeah, no problem. So as I don't know at which point I was interrupted. I think that our project was pretty decently described already by Henry Tuck. And I wanted to say one more sentence about how the BRaVE Fair and our project AL-KHATIB are about the prevention or tackling the issues, violent extremism and polarization, and to refer to the events that happened 2.5 weeks ago here in Vienna, Austria, the terrible terrorist attack on November 2nd, which was a terrible example of violent extremism. And now we can see first indicators of polarization within Austrian or also European society. Was also not an easy time for our project team, obviously. And so yeah, I'm happy to tell them now that we won this award, and I think and I hope it will motivate us to continue to fight extremism and polarization. I'm really happy. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on a brilliant project and all the best for your future. It's now time for our People's Choice Award to be announced. And I'd like to invite Robin to please present that award.
Hi, wow, what a pleasure to be able to present one of these awards in the People's Choice Award. So this project, this organization is working in an area where 25% of the local population is supporting far-right parties. They create an experience culture for their community with jam sessions and poetry slams, street art, shared cultural events, free flea markets, and workshops that deal with very serious issues as well, like fake news and conspiracy theories. With 274 votes, the People's Choice Award goes to Klanggerust.
As a cultural non-profit organization, we at the Klanggerust e.V. took this as an opportunity to double our efforts and mend the cultural divide in our city. Ever since our foundation in 2007, we offer young Erfurt residents a place where they can create and experience culture. Our monthly jam sessions, an open stage for everyone willing to step into the light. Our series of poetry slams, not to forget our various arts and crafts workshops, ranging from graffiti to gardening. As a cultural non-profit organization, we at the Klanggerust e.V. took this as an opportunity to double our efforts and mend the cultural divide in our city. Ever since our foundation in 2007, we offer young Erfurt residents a place where they can create and experience culture. Our monthly jam sessions, an open stage for everyone willing to step into the light. Our series of poetry slams, not to forget our various arts and crafts workshops, ranging from graffiti to gardening.
I'd like to welcome the Klanggerust team to please say a few words about their People's Choice Award winner project.
Wait a second, can you hear us?
Congratulations, guys.
Wait a second, there's a problem with our video. Okay, perfect. First of all, thank you very much. We surely didn't expect this because we kind of messed up how this entire winner project system works. So thank you very much, and thank you for everyone that voted for us. And yeah, thank you so much. We will surely use this this award to do brilliant things in the future. And yeah, we'd like to thank the BRaVE team as well as everybody involved in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Finally, we have an award for the most innovative of the projects, which is the BRaVE Innovation Award. And I'd like to present that award. I was also a member of the jury, so I had the privilege of watching all the different projects, and I'm just blown away by the quality and very moved to see the work that's going on at the grassroots level to address polarization and violent extremism and build resilience to it. In these pandemic times in which we're living our lives more than ever online, malicious actors have taken advantage of this situation to gain influence. During the extended lockdown we enjoyed in my city of Melbourne, Australia recently, that lasted for about 4 months, my teenage daughter was spending probably about 10 hours a day connected to her devices for school and for her social life. In the space of a week in September, she saw a live streamed suicide on TikTok and unknowingly circulated QAnon material. This was alarming, especially because even though I have a number of screen time controls activated on her devices, it's impossible to police what she's exposed to, as has been mentioned by other panel members like Henry Tuck earlier on in the discussion. If we want to successfully work with young people to build resilience to violent extremism and polarization, grassroots initiatives that educate young people about how recruitment works on social media platforms is critical. So I award the BRaVE Innovation Award to Lulu. Lulu is a digital, interactive and protected gaming space that makes the manipulation structures of the new right tangible and critically reflects them. The players slip into the role of a journalist student who wants to research and understand the network behind the right-wing radical influencer Lulu. That's why they pretend to be interested in her thoughts and beliefs until they're finally discovered and become targets of the hatred of the network behind Lulu. Lulu is informed by state-of-the-art understandings of mobilization to hate and violent extremism. The project is striking in its capacity to address violent extremism and polarization in the lockdown situation that we currently confront in the pandemic. Through its interactive gaming modality, the project is engaging and presents a scenario that's true to life. Recent research demonstrates that some online gaming cultures have become a conducive environment for far-right recruitment into hate-based ideologies. I applaud the makers of Lulu and hope to see the project translated into multiple languages to support the education of young people all over Europe about hate-based recruitment online. I'd like to invite Lulu to please comment on the award and on your project. Congratulations.
Und die Aufgabe der Spielerinnen ist es jetzt, die Manipulationsmechanismen, die hinter diesen Posts von Lulu stecken, zu verstehen.
Das Spiel ist ganz einfach. Man scrollt durch den Stadtspiegel, liest die Postings, schickt Lulu eine Freundschaftsanfrage und muss über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg das Vertrauen von Lulu durch richtige Entscheidungen auf der Plattform gewinnen, bis man von ihr eine Einladung in eine geheime Telegram-Gruppe bekommt. Um Lulus Manipulation zu verstehen, bekommt man über die ganze Spielzeit hinweg Hilfe von der Redaktion.
Und die Aufgabe der
Hi.
Hi, Kathy. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. We were really surprised because we thought just like those were all the awards. But yeah, it's so great, and it's a great honor for our team because we're just a quite new project in comparison to all the others, and we just started with it during the pandemic, like the first pandemic month in March, and we were really working on it most of the time online and talking to so many people and experts in extremism and younger people, and we're just developing it further and hoping to finish it next year. and we can really use this award because we have so many production parts coming ahead. Like we need lots of material for all the social platforms, and yeah, but I think everything is going quite well at the moment, and it's really great to have this award. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much, and from all our team, and also congratulations to the other projects.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Congratulations again. We're very grateful above all to the European Commission, the EU Horizon 2020 DG scheme that has made this possible, this project possible. Without their funding, we wouldn't be here tonight, and we wouldn't have been able to do this critically important work. So the European Union's Horizon 2020 research scheme, research and innovation program is the reason why we're here, and we all appreciate the funding they've given towards this project. That brings us to the end of our award ceremony. I'd like to thank everyone for participating. I'd love to thank all the projects who entered in to the BRaVE Award, and thank you very much for the work that you're doing. We'd like to support you all. We'd like to connect in future and stay connected. And we probably have a few minutes extra to continue to discuss some of the projects. If anyone would like to say anything more about their project or the intentions they have for the future visibility of their project. So I'd ask the winners to please, if you would like to say something more. Yeah, Max from Breathe In, Break Out.
Yeah, I'm really thankful about the the comments that have been made by the BRaVE consortium during this morning. Especially Henry Tuck made me realize that we have actually a huge challenge of fighting extremism and polarization that comes from misinformation, and I think we haven't been so much on that track until now, but I think it is actually really important issue, especially as when you consider the recent mass demonstrations, illegal mass demonstrations in Berlin and Leipzig in Germany, where thousands of people came together to discredit the government for no reason and spread conspiracy theories. Yeah, and it just I think especially as we Breathe In Break Out had the chance to win that prize, that perhaps we could play a role on that through some well-conceived digital campaign to reach out to our people, and because I mean we are the second wave of Corona has just begun, and we have like at least 4 more months coming towards us of lockdown and of the impossibility of doing, as it has been said by the BRaVE consortium, real life debates, offline sharing spaces, offline information sharing spaces. So I think it's a pretty critical political phase that we are about to start now, and for the coming month to be active on this is I think important for people like us, for everybody, but of course us Breathe In Break Out. And yeah, so thank you for the knowledge and the inspiration.
Thank you.
Well, to be honest, because we're just still developing our game and stuff, but yesterday during the debate I was thinking that maybe because it's an online game, it could really be worth maybe translating it to other languages, because we could make it available easily for other countries in Europe. So yeah, that's one thing that just came into our mind since yesterday, and I'm really it would be cool to do this. Of course, we just have to finish one version, but I think this could be one idea to take it a step further, because I think the new right is a issue in many countries.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Alexander?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. First of all, once again, thank you. And I think this BRaVE Award could also be kind of an opportunity for us, for not only the winners, but for all projects, because we all got connected through this award. So maybe we can come up with some collaboration in future to tackle all the problems that we see in society. And maybe in this way, we can be much more effective than just on our own. And by the way, thanks for the extra funding. We're definitely going to use that, because it helps us keeping up the doors during Corona, just as Max said. And we're also, as you know, or as you maybe taken from our videos, where our organization has a lot of huge quantity of activities, and we are now looking forward to improve the quality of our activities. And well, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's a fabulous idea for all the projects to connect and to work together to build even stronger projects in the future. Would any of the jury members like to make any further remarks to join in the discussion? Or any of the audience members are welcome to enter in some questions they might like to ask, or some in the chat. I'm getting some comments now. Congratulations to all the winners, really amazing projects.
Oh, I'd just like to, on behalf of BRaVE, and you've already expressed this quite a lot, Vivian, but just to also, it's been such a pleasure to be involved so far in the BRaVE Awards, and to see all the different projects coming in. It's a shame, of course, that we can't offer more support to all the projects, because there's such a wide range of different projects that we've had come through, and taking so many different and quite innovative approaches. It's really nice from a research point of view to see some of the work that we're doing in research being done on the ground, and actually see the impact that has, and the impact that has in communities. And just to say, like, we want to be supporting you guys as much as possible. Everyone here today has a fantastic project, to get through to these finals. You're all worthy winners, and hopefully we can kind of support you and offer our expertise as well where we can, and build kind of bridges for collaboration, because there's so many different opportunities here to bring that expertise and to bring that across kind of European boundaries as well. So we look forward to seeing how you all develop in the future.
Thanks so much, Richard. I echo very much your thoughts. To see the research as it's enacted on the ground is incredibly powerful. Any further remarks from our attendees or jury members or winners? Well, on that note, I would really love congratulations to everyone. I'd like to thank Cultures Interactive for putting this event together. I'd like to thank the scientific coordinator of the project, Professor Anna Triandafilidou, and the main researcher, Richard, and Francesca for all the work that you've put in over the course of the BRaVE project and for making this event possible. It's been a big team effort, a global team effort, and it's wonderful to see it coming together in the way that it has. Thanks again to the Horizon 2020 European Commission for the funding for this project, and we look forward to working with you in the future in whatever form that might take. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and the BRaVE, sorry, the BRaVE Fair, there'll be a ceremony actually taking place, we hope, in real life in Berlin in May next year. And we hope to see you all there. Oh, and I didn't actually introduce myself at the beginning of this award. I'm Vivian Durand. I'm one of the researchers on the BRaVE project. And I'm absolutely just overjoyed to be able to be part of it, because I think there's so much exposure all the time for the negative dimensions of violent extremism and polarization, and to see people working on positive endeavors and giving voice to all of those. And they're happening every day if we just look around us, but they're not necessarily happening in the media. So I'm really keen to give you all more visibility, and I'm really delighted to be part of this award ceremony. It's been a true honor to present these awards and to hear from you about your various projects over the couple of days of the BRaVE Fair. And I hope to see you in May next year. Come what may, one never knows whether 2021 is going to be anything like 2020, but fingers crossed we can see each other again in real time soon. Very best wishes to you all.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations again to the 15 projects and the 5 winners. Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you. Some remarks coming in through the chat.